All right, let's talk about something we've all probably felt. You build this amazing, beautiful data quality dashboard, and then nobody uses it. Sound familiar? Well, today we're going to dive into how to fix that. We're talking about using dashboards not just to show numbers, but to actually get people to do something, to really influence action.
Okay, so let's get right to the heart of it. The real problem isn't just about cleaning up data. I mean, that's the technical part. The hard part is getting people to care enough to fix it in the first place. And that, right there, is an influence challenge. See, most data quality leaders, they can't just order people around. They have to persuade, they have to convince.
And this whole situation leads us to what's known as the data quality paradox. It's really just a modern take on a classic problem called the tragedy of the commons. So what on earth does that mean when we're talking about data?
Imagine a shared park, right? Everyone loves using it when it's clean and beautiful, but if nobody feels like it's their job to pick up the trash, what happens? Pretty soon, it's a mess, and it's useless for everyone. Well, your company's data is that park. It's a shared resource. Everybody wants to use clean, high-quality data, but when it's nobody's specific job to maintain it, it just degrades, and that hurts everybody.
So what's the solution? How do we fix this? Simple. You have to make the invisible visible. You have to show everyone the real health of the data they're relying on. And of course, data quality dashboards are the perfect tool for that job. But, and this is a big but, not all dashboards are created equal, not by a long shot.
And this is maybe the most important takeaway. You can't just throw up one generic, one-size-fits-all dashboard and hope for the best. It just doesn't work. If you really want to be influential, you have to pick the right dashboard for the right audience. So let's dive into a playbook of 6 totally different strategies to make that happen.
All right, here they are, the 6 types. We've got everything from the big picture, dimension-focused dashboard, down to the super specific, critical data element one, and even something a little different called a ticket-driven workflow. The key thing to remember is that each one of these tells a completely different story meant for a completely different person.
Okay, first up, the dimension-focused dashboard. You've probably seen these. This is the classic 30,000-foot view. It measures those big, broad categories we all know, like completeness, accuracy, timeliness. And look, they're great for governance reports, for showing a consistent score over time. But there's a pretty big catch.
And this quote from someone in the field just says it all, doesn't it? They're crap. Why? Because a score like 70% consistency is just abstract. It doesn't mean anything to a business team. They're looking at their quarterly sales targets, and you show them this number, their reaction is going to be, so what? It fails to influence because it's completely disconnected from their world.
Now, on the complete opposite end of the spectrum, you have the critical data element, or CDE dashboard. These are hyper-focused. We're not measuring everything here. We're only tracking the data points that we absolutely must get right. Think about things like customer IDs, critical financial data, stuff for regulatory reporting. The influence here is massive because it's tied directly to risk and compliance. It's non-negotiable.
This quote just nails it. The reason they saw huge improvements? Because they had to for government reporting. It's that simple. When an external force, like a regulator, tells you what's important, the debate is over. The motivation is baked right in. Everyone gets on board, fast.
All right, number 3 is the business goal-focused dashboard. This one is all about translation. You stop talking in data speak and you start talking in business speak. So instead of data consistency, you're talking about the quality of customer emails for our big Q3 marketing campaign. See the difference? Suddenly you're not just talking about data anymore. You're talking about revenue. And that is a language that every single leader in the company understands.
Okay, if you're dealing with data coming in from all over the place, like from different vendors or internal systems, this one is your new best friend, the Data Source Focused Dashboard. It tracks quality right where the data comes in. The power here is accountability. It lets you stop saying, "We have bad data," and start saying, "Supplier X, your data feed had a 15% error rate last week." It makes the problem specific and actionable.
We all have them, right? That one group in the company, maybe it's the data science team, that is always complaining about the data quality. Well, the Data Consumer-Focused Dashboard is for them. You build it just for them, tracking the quality of the specific data they care about most. And the magic here? You solve their biggest headache. You turn your loudest critics into your biggest champions. And last but not least, number 6. This one's a bit different. It's not even a dashboard in the way you might think of one, with charts and graphs. It's really all about workflow. The metric for success here is simple. How many tickets are we creating and how many are we closing? The influence doesn't come from a pretty picture. It comes from showing relentless forward progress. It's pretty hard to argue with a backlog that's getting smaller every week.
Okay, so we've got these 6 different types of dashboards, 6 different strategies. The big question is, how do you choose? Which one is right for you? Because as we've seen, one size most definitely does not fit all.
Here's the key, your North Star for making this decision. You have to ask yourself one simple question. Who is my customer? Not your customer in the traditional sense, but the customer for your data. Is it a regulator? Is it the VP of marketing? Is it a data scientist? Once you know who you need to influence, you build the dashboard that speaks their language.
So let's make this super practical. Think of it like a cheat sheet. If you just need a basic overall health report for governance, yeah, go with Dimension Focused. Got an audit coming up? You absolutely need a CDE-focused dashboard. Need to convince the execs to give you more budget? You better be using a business goal-focused one. And those other 3, those are your go-to tools for working with specific teams on the ground.
All right, so now we know which type of dashboard to pick. But that's only half the battle. Now we have to talk about how to make it actually work. And this brings us to what might be the single most important rule of all. A dashboard that doesn't lead to action is completely, totally useless.
This idea here, the equivalence principle, is a real game changer. It says that your dashboard, the tests you run, and the tickets you create to fix problems, they're all just 3 sides of the same coin. They have to be connected. A good dashboard isn't just a static picture. It's a launchpad. When you see a bad score, you should be able to click on it and immediately see the tickets that need to be worked on. And every single one of those tickets has to be tied to a specific test that proves there's a problem.
So let's be super clear on this. A vague, fuzzy score from some generic tool just isn't going to cut it. Your dashboard numbers have to be built from the results of actual specific data quality tests. That's the only way you get traceability. It's what allows someone to go from a high-level score all the way down to the list of concrete things that need to be fixed.
And the best part? You don't have to wait 6 months to see results. The old way, that waterfall process, it's just too slow. You get nothing until the very end. But with the modern data ops approach, you can move so much faster. You can start small, generate some tests, get a dashboard up in a couple of weeks, and then iterate. You deliver value, you learn, you improve, all in these quick, rapid cycles.
And that brings us full circle, right back to where we started. Influence. Because at the end of the day, the power of a great dashboard isn't just the numbers on the screen. It's the story that it helps you tell. So I'll leave you with this question to think about. What's the story your data is trying to tell you right now? And who in your organization really, truly needs to hear it?